This is a lockup clutch I ordered for a Suzuki Hayabusa uh, from Schnitz Racing, and I really couldn't find any videos or anything on somebody installing this, so I thought I'd just go ahead and detail it. And also, I'm doing the welded clutch mod, and there really wasn't a lot on YouTube or really anywhere on that either. Just so I thought I'd go ahead and do that as well. Sorry if this video seems a little long. I wanted to make sure it was very detailed on how to install this and what all the pieces look like before and after. This is the piece that gets welded for the clutch mod. As you can see, it's all kinds of like wobbly, and definitely can see how, you know, it could make noise and cause all kinds of issues. The service manual calls this a clutch lifter driven cam set. And it kind of is like a cam somehow. It looks like it, as it turns and gets pressure, it wants to lift up the way it's put together. When you look at it up close there, there's those three prongs. One of them has a dot on it, and it's important that you keep that dot lined up with the dot on the other piece. Otherwise, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I mean, I've read that everything gets unbalanced and then clutch damage happens. This is how I held the two pieces together, so that I could actually make it perfectly aligned to be able to weld it. If it's not aligned, it basically won't go back on the bike. It's got to fit just right. And I ended up using a bolt and some washers, and then a big 3/4 inch drive socket. I don't know what size, like 1 inch and something. And then basically pinched them together, but not super tight, just tight enough that I could get it to stay together. So one of the issues I had was trying to find a shim that fit perfect on all three sides to make it so it's perfectly aligned. And I figured out that these Stanley cheap bimetal blades from wherever, Menards or something, were exactly the size I needed to shim every single side, so it lined up perfect. I mean, dead on. It slid right in there and everything lined up perfect. So, I mean, if somebody's doing this, man, run to Menards and get you some Stanley Sawzall blades and throw them mugs in there, and they fit perfect. After you get it lined up, then go ahead and snug that mug tight so it won't move once you start welding. You don't want it to warp or anything. I mean, I can see as I'm welding it must be changing some, because them saw blades were nice and tight and they just kind of fell over. You know what? I just realized I call them Sawzall blades, but they're actually hacksaw blades. And then I decided to remove them studs for the holding the springs on. Should have did that in the first place. They're right in the way. So I only tack welded it so I could check to see if it's gonna fit good. Make sure that, you know, if it was all welded, it'd be a disaster if it didn't lined up. So went ahead and checked with just a little bit of weld on it. It fit perfect. Just like I said, them Sawzall blades, or I mean hacksaw blades were perfect. I try not to weld too insane and get it too wicked hot. I don't want to warp or anything, so I kind of welded just a little bit at a time on each side. I'm certainly not like the best welder ever. I'm not really. I'm kind of new to TIG, so hopefully everything I welded just now holds. That'll be a disaster if it breaks or something goes wrong. But I guess. You want to make sure you Loctite them studs on. Otherwise, you know, that, I don't know. That could be a mess too. So when I bought that lockup clutch, I thought for sure that it replaced the cover. That's just the feeling that I got when I looked at it and bought it. But after getting it, you still use the stock cover. I'm like certain of it, and then the weights actually swing and put pressure on the cover against the against the clutches. Pretty smart. But like I was saying, there's like nothing. There was like no download for instructions or anybody who had done it online, so I was really kind of confused on exactly how this is supposed to work. And so this is what I believe it does at high speeds. Those where the bolt and the nuts are, that's the weight, the counterweight, and the centrifugal motion pulls it hard up against that cover and puts pressure. The higher the RPMs, the more pressure there is against the clutch, and causes more lockup the higher your speed. And they said that you have to grind these inside pieces. They did not say how much had to be ground off. So I went ahead and just ground them all the way off, which then leaves like a hole that needs to be filled. I suppose you could just thread a bolt in there and it'd be fine, but I decided to go ahead and just TIG weld them. I just welded them shut. I mean, that seemed like the right thing to do to me. But I don't think you have to do that. You don't have to grind it all the way down, and I don't think that it needs to be TIG welded. And if you did, you could just stick a bolt on the opposite side. You also generally don't need to use RTV. I just was too cheap to buy gaskets, and I'm going to reuse mine. And then the other gasket was actually just a piece of paper, and I just cut it out, so I'm too cheap for, buying gaskets and whatnot. Well, that's pretty much all finished now. I mean, I'm putting the cover on. It's pretty much done. I really do hope this actually helps somebody when they start looking for how to install this thing and or doing the clutch mod, the welded clutch mod. I hope this video helps somebody. I know it would have helped me. I would have looked at it for sure. Thanks for watching.